So since coming back to Thailand from the Philippines, I've been getting so many questions for people asking me to compare the two and talk about which one I like better, asking me what my preference is. And usually I don't really like to compare countries, but today I thought, what the hell, let's do it. So I just want to start off by saying I love both countries. Now, I've been living in Thailand for a year and I'm having the best time here. I've made amazing friends and I've been really enjoying my time here. But ironically, before coming to live here, I actually wanted to live in the Philippines. So I'd spent a bit of time there back in 2020, end of 2019, I went back there in 2020 and I had an amazing time there and I really fell in love with the place. And I decided that that's somewhere I wanted to try living. So unfortunately, 2020 happened and I didn't actually get to do that. So I was only just able to go back just recently. It was so good to go back. You know, I had the most amazing time when I was there in the Philippines, and after not being able to travel for so long, it was just I think I enjoyed it even more because of that. It's going to be quite hard for me to compare the two countries because in some ways they're so different, but in other ways they're actually really similar. And the thing I like most about both these countries is actually the same thing. So the people, I find, God, when I was in the Philippines, the people just overwhelm me with how friendly they are. Everyone is so nice. They just run up to you. They want to talk to you. The kids, you know, there's kids everywhere playing, and they honestly, they can lighten up your day. It's just amazing that everywhere you walk in the Philippines, people want to say hi and people want to have a chat to you. And, you know, I absolutely love that. And it just honestly makes the whole experience for me. So the thing I love about Thailand is also the people. So if you watch the video I put out yesterday, I went to Klong Toi with a friend and we hung out there all night, and God, the people were just, they were so welcoming. You know, we're just completely welcomed into this community. People asking us to drink with them. God, I ended up getting super drunk last night, but we hung out with these local people. And even though there's a language barrier and everything, you don't need to be able to speak perfectly to be able to communicate with each other. We still had a great time and we could tell stories, and you know, you communicate a lot using tone and actions and body language. So we had a great time even though there was that language barrier. And that's a great thing about the Philippines is they speak really good English. So I don't struggle here in Thailand. I never feel like it's an issue for me. My Thai is not that great. And honestly, I don't struggle with my day-to-day stuff here. But in the Philippines, it is definitely easier to get by. I mean, everyone speaks English. Even the little kids that run up to you in the street, they can speak bits of English to you. It's amazing. Now, I do think generally Thai people speak great English, and you're definitely able to get by here. I've lived in places when I lived in South Korea. You cannot get by with just English in South Korea. You definitely need to learn the language, and I actually got quite good at Korean, and for some reason I'm just still terrible at Thai. And it also varies person to person. You know, all my friends that I have here, they all speak great English, which is lucky for me. And I guess that's another reason why I haven't put as much effort into learning Thai, well, learning as much Thai as I should have. So the cost of living for both places is actually quite similar. They're both very affordable places to live. I think the rent here in Bangkok is slightly higher than it is in Manila. I know my condo costs more than the one I was renting in Manila, but this is a higher end condo. There's definitely cheaper places to live. I think I'm better at knowing how to spend less money here in Thailand because I know the place basically. You know the cheap places to go. You know where there's great markets and places to eat. You know where to go shopping and things like that. So that's just something that comes with experience, and I imagine that if I was living in the Philippines, I would have that same experience. Now, I found a night out partying is definitely cheaper in the Philippines. Drinks in clubs are much cheaper. God, some of the clubs here in Bangkok are actually quite expensive, and you can compare to Western prices. I just spent a few days down in Pattaya and we were out drinking every night, and I spent an absolute shitload of money. But I was pleasantly surprised with the price of the drinks in the nightclubs in Manila. So I was paying around 200 pesos for a beer, and to compare that to here, you would pay, you'd probably pay around 150 to 200 baht for a small beer in a club here. And then you've got these like total high-end clubs. It's just like, forget about it. You don't even want to go there. Now, safety is a thing that people ask about, and it can be a real factor in deciding whether people want to travel to a place or not. So neither place is dangerous. I can say that quite confidently. I made a video in Manila talking about, is Manila dangerous? And I really don't think it is. So check out that video if you haven't seen it already. It's actually quite informative. And have a read of the comments below the video too, of all the Filipino people that have chimed in and they've given their 2 cents on the situation. It'll put you at ease even more, and it's a really nice read as well. Now, Thailand, I also feel, is very safe. You know, everywhere in the world has crime, has danger, and you know, you just need to be smart everywhere you go. But I personally think Australia can be more dangerous than Thailand, and I've seen more fights and problems and shit go down in Sydney than I've ever seen here in Bangkok. I've also traveled way out of the touristy areas. I've been all over the country here in Thailand, and I've had nothing but amazing experiences from welcoming people. You know, everyone just goes out of their way to make sure that you're having a great time. Okay, now food. Food's a tough one because it's a real personal preference. I like the food in both countries. I've got more experience of trying different Thai foods, and I know more different types of Thai foods. So my personal favorite is actually the Japanese food or Korean food. God, when I lived in Korea, the food was amazing, and over time of living there, you get to try more things and learn more about the food, and you learn more about what you like. So I guess I need to spend some more time in the Philippines to try different things and learn more about the food there. God, all this talk of food, I'm getting hungry. I gotta go get something to eat. So I just come around to a great little bar restaurant on Soi 19. I got myself some garlic chicken for lunch. I love garlic chicken. And I actually haven't had it since I've been back. So that means I haven't had it for like 6 weeks. So come to Papa. Oh, I've missed that. It's honestly one of my favorite things to eat, garlic chicken. Oh man, that was an awesome lunch. I love garlic chicken, and they gave me, so I'd never tried this before. They gave me hot chili sauce, like a little bottle of hot chili sauce to have with the garlic chicken. And to me, that sounded like a weird combination of like chili and garlic. Anyway, I tried it together and it's really, really good. You know my body never known. So the more that I talk, the more I realize I don't actually have a clear answer on this as to what my preference is. I actually love both countries. I'm really happy living here in Thailand, and I do want to experience living in the Philippines at some stage. So I'm actually going to be going back to Manila in about a month or two. So really excited to go back, catch up with all my friends. I made amazing friends when I was there. I can't wait to see them all again. And I do want to do a lot more travel around the Philippines because I've spent most of my time in Manila. You know, I ended up making great friends there, and every time I go back, I wanted to see my friends. But you know, the Philippines is a beautiful country. The islands are incredible. I have visited the islands before, but I definitely want to do some more traveling around and see the islands and make videos in the islands because they're so beautiful. It'd be so easy to make content there. So my plan is I do want to continue to base myself here in Bangkok. I've got this apartment for about another 6 months I'm on the contract for. And my plan has always been to be based in Bangkok and be traveling around all over the place. So I want to travel all of Asia basically. I'm dying to get to Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos. I'm absolutely dying to go back to Korea because I haven't been there in the longest time, and I actually never planned on leaving there. Japan is very high on my list. That's probably my favorite country in the world to visit. And I think being here in Bangkok is a great central hub for all that, so I can shoot around, go spend a week somewhere and come back, and go spend a week somewhere else and come back. That's kind of the dream of what I'd like to eventually do. So that being said, I know I said I wanted to live in the Philippines, and I definitely do, and I will live in Manila at some point, or not necessarily Manila, just somewhere in the Philippines. I will continue to visit there and go there on holidays because I just have like the most amazing time when I'm there. So I guess the more that I talk, the more confused I am as to which country I think is better. I don't think I have a preference. I definitely love both countries. I love living here. I love visiting the Philippines. I would like to live in the Philippines. So I don't know. Sorry, this wasn't a very good video. You know my body never known. Now, if you're one of those people that's been to Thailand a bunch of times and you've never been to the Philippines, you need to go to the Philippines. Go to Manila, go to the islands. The islands are absolutely breathtaking. But the Philippines is an amazing country and you need to go experience it. You can have very similar experiences in both countries, I find, and the people are just so nice in both countries. But I think Thailand is a very popular tourist destination and not as many people have visited the Philippines. So if you haven't been to the Philippines, go. You won't regret it, I promise you. Well, that's it for me. I guess I didn't really answer the question. I love both countries, so yeah. Man, Bangkok is really coming alive. It's so good to see. I've just been gone for like 6 weeks, and even in the time that I was gone, there's a noticeable difference from how busy it was then to how busy it is now. It's so awesome.